Queensland's coverage of the 2019 NPL, NPLW and FQPL season is brought to you by IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. Play football. Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club. Football Foundation, making football more accessible for every income, every gender, every ability, every background, every Indigenous Queenslander. Donate today.
This weekend we play Peninsula Power at home, round one, but also it's doubled up as the Foundation Cup, so it's going to be a big test against a very good side, and a side that we have had many good battles with against over the years, so we're looking forward to it. Yeah, look, we just want to be competitive in all aspects of our game again. We try to improve our playing style. Where we finish up is, I guess, that'll be determined by the playing group, but we will just try and be as competitive as we can in every game we play.
Most dangerous, into the top corner. Good ball right into the area, and the ball is in the back of the net, and it is that man Merrick.
Yeah, to play NPL, to play at the best clubs in Queensland. I think players are really excited to be there, and it was a really good year last year for us to make the NPL, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. Peninsula Power, we're not there to make up numbers. I'm not going to say we're going to win it, but we always want to compete every time we go out there and play, and I'm not sure where we'll finish, but hopefully our aim will be to play finals football. So hopefully we can finish up that end of the table, and yeah, we'll see in 30 rounds time where we finish.
Dean Briggs, who else scores the first? Briggs has the second. But it's Peninsula Power who complete the unbeaten season. The off-season is over and hostilities are resumed once again between these two powerhouses of Queensland football. After a one-year league absence, the NPL premiers and champions Lions FC, winners in their inaugural season in the NPL, take on the newly promoted Peninsula Power once again, looking to achieve the same feat after claiming last year's FQPL double. It's also the debut of the Football Foundation Cup, and we're here at Lions Stadium for this opening clash in round one of the NPL Queensland. And I mentioned the Football Foundation. It's a football foundation that's been established to make football in Queensland as inclusive and accessible as possible, by providing opportunities, creating community connections and supporting the growth of football participation all across Queensland. We encourage all Queenslanders who care about our game to consider making a donation to Football Foundation Queensland to help the development of football in our state. Lions Stadium is the venue for the Football Foundation Cup round one. Not only the opening round in Queensland, but the first game overall nationally in the NPL in 2019. And as I said before, it's Lions FC and Peninsula Power. Rafe Griffin with you in commentary, and I'm joined by a new face, a new voice to our Football Queensland match commentary this year from the Brisbane Football Review. It's James Coughlin. James, firstly, welcome on board. The anticipation is over, and since the draw was released, this has really become a heavily awaited encounter.
Thanks, Rafe. I'm really glad to be on board this season, and yeah, as you said, when the draw came out in December, this was one of the first games that I scheduled, and I'm really glad to be here doing commentary Football Queensland for the Foundation Cup, and I think we're in for a real cracker tonight.
Certainly will be. As I said, these two teams previously in the Brisbane Premier League. Lions made the step up to NPL last year, Peninsula to FQPL, and in 2019 they're back in the same league again. So James, obviously a couple of players to look out for this evening from each side. Who do you think that our viewers should be taking a particular interest in this evening?
Well, starting off with Lions, I've circled their striker, Marek Mudley. He didn't play in the cup tie between these two sides last season, but he brings a big, strong presence to Lions' attack. Going forward, he's going to always be the outlet for them, and he really changed Lions' attack going forward in the second half of last season. So if Power have any success, they're going to have to try and stop the big centre forward today.
And the Lions squad this afternoon, well, a couple of major acquisitions for the reigning premiers, particularly enhancing their attack. The human highlight reel, Chris Hatfield. He was quite often a feature of Goal of the Week, Goal of the Month last year. He makes the move down the range from the southwest Queensland Thunder, while Joe Duckworth joins from the Western Pride. The full lineup for Lions this afternoon. In goal is the extravagant Luke Borian. 2, Andy Thompson. 4, Marty Asimic. 5, Tommy Jarrett. 9, Chris Hatfield. 10, Joe Duckworth. 11, Nathan Shepherd. 12, Sean Carlos. 15, Danny Kim. 16, Josh Brindle South. And 17, Marek Madley. The reserves are Nathan Reardon, Adam Sawyer, Lewin Walpole, Keegan Yelisic, and the reserve keeper, Jackson Riley.
All right, so Lions are sponsored by Motorama and Luxury Paints.
And a relatively unchanged squad for Power after having claimed the FQPL crown in 2018, but a major loss with Dean Briggs set to miss an extended period due to injury. I caught up with him before the game. Did some ligament damage to his knee in a trial against South a couple of weeks ago. Might be out for anything up to 8 to 12 weeks. But the signings of Sekou Jamonde and Brenton Fox, both of those players making the trek over from the Moreton Bay Jets where they were last year, and they'll aim to increase Power's scoring prowess in 2019. Their full squad this afternoon. In goal is Jake Reesby, 3, Matt Boyd, 16, Luke Plummer, 5, Chris Jensevsky, 15, Sam Roper, 4, Daniel Cunha, 10, Top Strickland, 2, Lewis Greenwood, 9, Brenton Fox, 8, Josh Woolley, and 23, Sam Crone. The reserves for Power, Trent McAvoy, Richie Hurlin, Sekou Jamonde, and Ramon Close. And who's the player to look out for Power this afternoon, James?
So I've highlighted Richie Hurlin for Power. He's a free kick specialist coming out of fullback. He actually played under Lions coach Warren Moon at Power with goalkeeper Jake Reesby, and any set piece the Power get tonight, they're really going to have Richie Hurlin firing from that. And Power is sponsored by Rate International Freight and Fernex.
Well, as you can probably see in the background, the under-20s game just about to wrap up. They've just hit the 90-minute mark, so into stoppage time. 2-2 between Lions and Peninsula in this encounter, what's been quite an entertaining affair. And we should be away very shortly once the youngsters are done into the main event of this evening. Well, we're not here alone tonight. Of course, as you've probably seen during the week, all NPL games in 2019 will be live streamed. We'll have one match of the round every week from the NPL. That's, of course, this game tonight between Lions and Power, but you can catch up on all the other games that are going on around the grounds on the Football Queensland YouTube channel. And we'll have a match of the round from the NPL Women's and the FQPL when they kick off as well. And all matches this year from those leagues will be filmed and highlights available on the Football Queensland social media channels. So as I said, James?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this game. So these two sides actually played in the FFA Cup qualifier. I think it was the final round before the main draw, and it was a massive win for Lions. But you have to looking back at what happened in that game, I kind of think that Power really went for it in that game, knowing it was a cup tie. So I kind of think this game could be quite a little bit closer than that. I think obviously it's going to be an early start to the season for everyone, so not quite sure this is going to be as intense as perhaps what we've seen between these two sides before as well. So it's hot tonight. The conditioning and the pre-season training is going to be really interesting to see how these players are actually ready to go, because it's obviously been an abbreviated pre-season for everybody.
Yeah, it's a bit of a marathon this year, the NPL Queensland, extending out to a 30-round season, each team with 28 games to play. Perhaps an extended pre-season by de facto. Teams might be able to sort of go a bit slower than what they normally did in the first 4 to 6 weeks and not be too far behind. But once again, it's going to be an exciting season. Of course, Power, one of the newly promoted teams, as well as Eastern Suburbs up into the NPL this year.
Yeah, that's right. I'm never actually going to complain that we're getting more football, especially on a Saturday night like tonight. It's beautiful out here, and I think Penn Power are in for a bit of a rough start to the season. Obviously, they've got a lot of last season's top sides on their schedule, but obviously, they've got to have a lot of optimism considering how they went through the FQPL last season, not actually losing a game. So there's a lot to be excited about for Penn Power, for sure.
Got a couple of Power supporters on our Facebook post. Jack Jolly and Harry Smart, both behind the Power this evening. Great to have you viewing in. Of course, as we know, you can make comments on the Facebook page, so please let us know where you're viewing from and who you might be supporting this evening.
And actually, a few Penn Power fans have made the trip out here to Lions Stadium at Richlands. We can see a few signs from where we're standing in the left corner as well, as the referee just blows full time on the match in progress. So looks like we're only a couple of minutes away from the feature match, Rafe.
Well, while we're waiting for the encounter to kick off here, James, how about we take a look at some of the games being played across the round tonight and maybe get some predictions. First of all, in about a quarter of an hour's time, the Strikers at home to the Southwest Queensland Thunder.
Yeah, so I think that Strikers have got quite a lot to come this season, and yeah, I actually spoke to Jacob Bigby from Southwest Queensland Thunder on the Brisbane Football Review podcast, and he's certainly interested to see how his side goes. Obviously, they've got a lot to look forward to, so I think Strikers will get up in that one.
Another team making their debut in the NPL this year, the Gold Coast Knights at home, and what should be a massive encounter down at the Croatian Sports Centre. The travelling, I'm going to say the full name so we can fill out some name.
Vince Rigari will be happy with that.
The Mackay and Whitsunday Magpies Crusaders United Football Club.
Yes, that's right. I think the longest name in Australian football, quite possibly, but a lot of familiar faces at Gold Coast Knights, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they come together. Obviously, Gray Piddick, phenomenal coach, and I think there's a lot to look forward to down at Carrara.
Also kicking off at 6:30, Moreton Bay at home to Gold Coast United.
Ooh, that's going to be a really tough one.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christian Reeves now in charge at Gold Coast United.
And obviously Michael Thwaite, still a very, very capable player as well. So I think that game's going to be too hard to split, personally.
And the other game tonight to round out Saturday night football, Brisbane City at the Corporate Travel Management Stadium at home to Redlands United. 5-5 draw between those two teams when they last met.
Yeah, well, Cleberson actually is talking about getting a bit more of a team defensive approach this season as well, so we'll see how quickly that can actually come into effect.
And Eastern Suburbs make their debut in the NPL tomorrow afternoon. They make the trek up the Bruce Highway to take on the Sunshine Coast Fire.
Certainly, and I think there's a lot to look forward to there, obviously, as well. So I think East are going to actually get off to a winning start there. Danny Wright, obviously, has done quite a good bit of recruiting, signing a couple of good players, including the Hugo brothers from Brisbane City. So, yeah. And
to round out round one, a match that was due to be played tonight, but the Brisbane Raw Youth have spoilt the party by making the Y-League final yesterday. Congratulations to the Brisbane Raw on winning that match yesterday. But on Tuesday night, they're out to Briggs Road to take on the Western Pride at 7:30.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, congratulations to the Raw Youth side. They'll be very happy with their result last night down in Sydney, and I think Western Pride will be happy to catch them on a short return.
And Olympic will have an extra week to prepare for the NPL Queensland. What else has been going on with Football Queensland, James?
All right, so we've got IFCCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. You can get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. And also with Play Football, Australia's number one, you can play Australia's number one sport. Whether you're just starting out or have been doing it for years, there is a club for you to play football in 2019. With over 2,200 clubs across the country, there's bound to be one just right for you or your child. Girls and boys can start playing for a club from the year they turn 6. So what are you waiting for? Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au.
Thanks very much for that, James. Yeah, plenty of opportunities right around Queensland to join up for your local club. I'm going to declare a bit of a vested interest. It's great to see a new club in Football Brisbane announced the other day, Ripley Valley. It's a long way out to Ripley Valley. I pity the poor people that were travelling the other way when I was going out there against the traffic the other night. But look, good to have a club in a developing area. And just some other things that are going on in the Football Queensland landscape at the moment. A deal's just been done with Flight Centre. Of course, the Academy of Awesome that was around last year. Flight Centre now backing that for 2019. So if you know a volunteer that needs to be recognised for their efforts, head off to the Football Queensland website, and the winner each month receives a $200 travel voucher courtesy of Flight Centre. The nominations for the first round close on Monday. We talked about the W League. Sorry, the W League. I've got W League on my mind because I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 weeks or so.
And a very good job at that as well.
Thanks, James. The Y League final yesterday, and we had a Sunshine Coast assistant referee involved in that, in Jay Hudson. So a wonderful opportunity, not only for the players for the Brisbane Roar, but for local match officials as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see these match officials getting recognised on the national stage, and hopefully onwards and upwards getting further senior appointments.
And as we talked about before, you might have just joined us. The under-20s game has just been completed. That's why we've got a bit of delay with the kick-off of the first team. But, look, I'm sure you won't, but if you do get bored of us during the night, or maybe you've got a TV where you can put up 5 or 6 split screens, you'll be able to watch the other 4 games tonight from the NPL Queensland. Full coverage of the NPL Queensland this year, live streamed all games from the NPL Queensland on the YouTube channel of Football Queensland.
That's right, and don't forget to follow Football Queensland on Instagram and Facebook for the latest football news and events across the state. Check out our Instagram story for a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's game and have your say on our poll. You can find us at FootballQLD.
Yeah, we'd love to know your predictions. Will it be the reigning NPL premiers or the reigning FQPL premiers?
I do actually quite like that they're starting this game with obviously the 2 winners from last season as well, the FQ premiers and the NPL premiers. I think it's a nice way to remember what happened last year going into a brand new season.
And of course that'll be a feature going forward. The opening game of each season will be the Football Foundation Cup between the NPL winners and the FQPL winners, and that tradition established tonight with Lions and Power going around.
And it's certainly a nice looking trophy over there as well.
It is indeed.
Glistening in the late afternoon sunshine.
So a little bit of a variation tonight in that we need a cup winner, obviously. So if it is drawn at 90 minutes, for the sake of the NPL, it's 1 point each. We're done with the draw, but for the sake of then determining who collects the inaugural edition of the Football Foundation Cup, we'll have a penalty shootout to determine the cup winner if scores are tied at the end of 90.
What better way to break yourself into a new season than by testing your nerves in a penalty shootout if this does happen to go past 90 minutes?
I'll talk about the pre-season silver boot in just a moment, but I don't think there was a penalty shootout in the silver boot this year, which is a bit uncommon. We usually see 1 or 2, but
yeah. Did you always, if you're ever playing, Rafe, would you want to take a penalty or do you want to leave it to someone else?
Oh, I think I'd leave it to someone else. The pressure would be too much, and I don't think my toe poke is going to be particularly effective. I don't think.
I always liked playing goalkeeper and asking the striker which way you're going to shoot. Always confuse them no matter what. So it's an interesting tactic. I wonder what, if it does go to penalties, what the eccentric Luke Borrian might do tonight.
Well, the eccentric Luke Borrian, I'm glad you touched on that because we had a penalty shootout in the NPL semi-final last year between Lions and Moreton Bay. And of course, he stepped up and took a penalty. And I often wonder, why don't keepers take penalties more often? Because they usually would know what the other keeper is thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if nothing else, you could be pretty good at reading the tells from the opposing strikers. So surely you've got to know which way they're going to take anyway. But of course, we've got to get through a full 90 minutes of football first tonight. And I think we're going to be in for a really, really interesting game. So I just want to know how Penn Power are going to really try and attack that Lions defensive line, which was so strong last season.
We mentioned earlier on the 6-0 victory in the FFA Cup by Lions over Peninsula Power last year. I think that was very much an aberration. Sean Carlos with a hat-trick on that occasion. He'll obviously be out there to try and do something similar this evening. But, yeah, as I said, an aberration. I think Lions will get the chocolates tonight, but I don't think we'll have anywhere near that score line. Wonder if there's a bit of nerves for Peninsula Power in making their first appearance in the NPL.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see, because this is obviously a league game rather than a cup game. I wonder if we might see something maybe a little bit more conservative from Penn Power as well, trying to, I suppose, stifle Lions rather than just going all out for a win and having to chase a game if they concede an early goal.
So, just glancing over towards the far right-hand side of the stadium, just checking out to see whether the players are about to enter the arena. Can't be too far away now, James.
Yeah, we've got a prediction from Alf Stockel, Power 2-1.
Great to have you watching again, Alf. He'll no doubt be travelling up to that game as the Eastern Suburbs first team statistician tomorrow against Sunshine Coast Fire.
Yeah, Well, actually, I'm interested to see how that first trip up the Sunshine Coast goes as well, because obviously, beautiful day, probably tomorrow, going up to the Sunshine Coast, so good time to take a road trip, surely.
I was up there last weekend, actually, at Caloundra on the Saturday. The traffic getting up there was a nightmare at about midday on Saturday, but we made the wise decision to leave about 9:30 on the Sunday morning, and it was a pretty good trip back rather than waiting till the Monday where it looked like all that school holiday traffic was coming back.
I should probably go up and visit my parents up there at some point soon, but I'm sure Mum and Dad are watching.
Lovely part of the world, and I'll give credit to the Sunshine Coast Fire. Obviously not the best of seasons last year, but they've been looks like they've been doing some brilliant work in the off season, particularly on their social media, trying to engage the local community and some youngsters on board, and hopefully a bit of youthful. What's the word I'm looking for?
Exuberance?
That's the one I'm looking for. Thanks, James. They sometimes come a bit slow to my brain at this stage of my life, but yes, a bit of youthful exuberance. A couple of Japanese boys made the trip down from Cairns to join the squad.
Yeah. Well, the words sometimes do come to me quite frequently, mostly when I'm run by coffee, as anyone who's listened to the Brisbane Football Review would know. So, yeah, it's just counting down the final few seconds of the off-season now, and Pen Power subs are heading to the bench.
Oliver Tawa hedging his bets almost. He's saying a 2-2 draw, or perhaps a 90th minute goal from Lions to make it 3-2. That would make for an exciting finish.
Well, we've had a few pretty classic games at Lions here in the past 12 months as well. Like, obviously, both finals last season went right down to the wire, and I remember their FFA Cup round of 32 clash against Olympic as well. And player you mentioned before, Sean Carlos, he was huge in that game. So, looking forward to seeing what he can do as well.
All right, we're just going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back shortly with kickoff of
Queensland's coverage of the 2019 NPL, NPLW and FQPL season is brought to you by IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au. Play football. Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au to find your nearest club. Football Foundation, making football more accessible for every income, every gender, every ability, every background, every Indigenous Queenslander. Donate today.
This weekend we play Peninsula Power at home, round 1, but also it's doubled up as the Foundation Cup, so it's going to be a big test against a very good side, and a side that we have had many good battles with against over the years, so we're looking forward to it. Yeah, look, we just want to be competitive in all aspects of our game again. We try to improve our playing style. Where we finish up is, I guess, that'll be determined by the playing group, but we will just try and be as competitive as we can in every game we play.
Post dangerous into the top corner. Good ball right into the dangerous area, and the ball is in the back of the net, and it is that man Barry.
Yeah, to play NPL, to play at the best clubs in Queensland. I think players are really excited to be there. And it was a really good year last year for us to make the NPL, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. So Peninsula Power, we're not there to make up numbers. I'm not going to say we're going to win it, but we always want to compete every time we go out there and play, and I'm not sure where we'll finish, but hopefully our aim will be to play finals football. So hopefully we can finish up that end of the table, and yeah, we'll see in 30 rounds time where we finish.
Dean Briggs, who else scores the first? Briggs has the second. But it's Peninsula Power who complete the unbeaten season. And we're back at Lions Stadium. I can assure you we're not too far away from kickoff now. You've just heard the thoughts of Warren Moon, the Lions coach, and Aaron Philp, the Peninsula Power coach, and they were very convivial prior to the start of the game, having a good chat amongst themselves just prior to kickoff, as the two teams and the match officials come out for this NPL Queens round 1 clash from Lions Stadium between Lions FC and Peninsula Power. Rafe Griffin with you, with James Coughlin in commentary. If you have just joined us, thanks for joining us. Hello James, how are you?
Good, thanks Rafe. Looking forward to the season opener here, and it's a beautiful sight at Lions Stadium, so let's get some football going.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Just recapping some of those team lineups for Lions. The new recruits of Chris Hatfield and Joe Duckworth in the squad today. For Peninsula Power, the influential Dean Briggs missing through injury, but the Moreton Bay duo of Sekou Jamonde and Bretton Fox joining Peninsula Power in 2019.
Tonight's referees, you've got Tony Sarai in charge, and the assistants are Isidro Terrell Crespo and Lauren James.
Of course, the match officials powered by Total Tools. And we'll have a special tosser of the coin tonight. That's the Lions under-16 player, Prince Tambwe. He'll do the coin toss pre-match with the match officials. We've talked about the Football Foundation of Queensland, and he's one of the scholarship holders here at Lions FC. And originally from the Congo, Prince and his sisters now live in Brisbane with their aunt. So he'll be out momentarily to assist Tony Sarai with the coin toss. Martia Simic, the Lions skipper, out there. Looks like Matt Boyd filling the role for Peninsula this evening, and Luke Borean in the customary balaclava. He thinks it's -40, not +40 as it has been close to.
And it's great to see the Football Foundation giving opportunities for people like Prince getting a chance to play this beautiful game.
So the photo being taken with the match officials and Prince, and as I said, the two skippers, Martia Simic and Matt Boyd, with the captain's armband, with Trent McAvoy starting from the bench for Peninsula this evening. Both teams are in their final pre-match huddles.
Wonder what they're saying in there. Let's get off to a good start.
You'd think it would be, yeah.
I think that's what we were saying in our pre-match huddle anyway.
Not much more you can really say. All the words have been done in the dressing room. Just be, boys, let's get out there and do this. I'm sure both sets of players excited to be playing against the opposite club once more. We mentioned the FFA Cup, but the last league appearance between these two sides was down at AJ Kelly Park in the 2017 Brisbane Premier League Grand Final. A controversial penalty to Tynan Diaz shortly before the half-time break was the only difference between the two sides back in September 2017. Lions claiming a narrow 1-0 win over Peninsula Power on that occasion.
And Ollie Berman on Facebook, no VAR for tonight's match, so I think we can all rest easy with that after the early hours of this morning's Asian Cup final.
It's been an interesting discussion point in the A-League once again this season, but back to local football. The one referee, the two assistants, no fourthie. No one in a box watching on.
I think just a few people up there on the deck in the John Morcus stand up there, and I think they might have one of the best views in the house.
So it'll be the men in orange that will have first use of the ball in this opening round encounter from the NPL Queensland. The opening match right around Australia as well. So a momentous occasion for Queensland. About to get underway. Tony Sarai just checking with his assistants one last time. And the marathon begins. It's round 1 of the NPL Queensland from Lions Stadium. It's Lions FC up against Peninsula Power. Madley for Lions up against Dan Cunha. It just slides past Shepherd. Madley, what an influence he was for both Holland Park in the early part of the season in the FQPL, as well as his mid-season move to Lions in the NPL. He stayed at one club for the whole season, probably would have won the Golden Boot at whichever club he stayed at. First touch of the ball for the eccentric Luke Borean. Sends it forward. Search of Duckworth. Brindle South with the distinctive red hair. Shepherd making a return from injury where he missed vast parts of the 2018 NPL.
Three players going short for the corner here for Lions, so interesting to see if they actually try and put the ball in the box. Well, the throw-in.
Duckworth off the left foot into the area where Madley tried to make a leap. Away by Josh Woolley of Peninsula Power. Arriving on the scene is the former Raw youth player Tommy Jarrett, who sends it almost into the sports bar on the far side. Lofted high. Danny Kim.
Jake Enston on Facebook, big Power supporter, Woolley to get into them early, give them a reducer early doors. So, you know, quite a lot of vocal Power support on Facebook so far.
As we expect, a club that has quite a number of supporters, perhaps up there with the level of support of any club in the southeast Queensland corner.
They've set up their own banners in the far left corner from the camera position, so keep an eye out for those when Lions are attacking in the first half.
So Lions attacking down the right-hand side. I fancy that Madley was in an offside position. Yeah, he does hold up his play. I'm sure he got a call there from the assistant to say don't play it, otherwise you will be flagged for offside. Switch of play out onto the right for Lewis Greenwood, new recruit to Peninsula Power coming from the NPL 2 in Victoria. Shepherd gets to the ball first, and referee Sarai deems that the debut player for Peninsula, Greenwood, has infringed.
Bren Rich on a comment on Facebook, Reesby Scorpion kick in the 90th. Well, you know what, I think that would just send us both out of our minds, wouldn't it?
Anything can happen. Has been known to go up for a late corner as we see the ball just dash across the face of Madley there. And Hatfield was also lurking at the far post, but Power are going to escape with a corner. Joe Duckworth, the man from the Western Pride, to be the corner taker on this occasion. Tommy Jarrett sticking up a hand. There's a clump of Lions players just ready to break and fool the Peninsula Power defence as his corner is whipped in, nodded away, only as far as Thompson for Lions, who's hassled there by the new recruit for Power, Brenton Fox. Started very promisingly for Moreton Bay in his debut season at the Jets last season. Makes the move across to the Redcliffe Peninsula. So another free kick for the home side. Looks to be Duckworth once again.
In-swing corner here, so I can see this one going towards the near post.
Let's see if your prediction's right here, James. Here it comes from Duckworth. Just sort of plays it in towards the penalty spot where Madley was waiting. And a similar result to an earlier phase of play. And Lions have a corner from that far side of the pitch. So we await this corner. They've kicked off at Perry Park. No score after 4 minutes between the Strikers and the Thunder. Tommy Jarrett was waiting there for Lions FC. Nodded down by Kim for his own advantage, and it's too far. And Peninsula have had to soak up some early defensive pressure in this encounter. Jake Reesby, goalkeeper for Peninsula Power. He was one of the players, along with Richie Hurlin, that claimed the 2014 Brisbane Premier League Grand Final at this venue. 5-0 win against Wolves. Why do I mention that? That was Warren Moon's last game in charge, along with Scott McNichol at Peninsula Power before he made the move to Lions at the start of the 2015 season. So his 5th season here at Lions Stadium, and pretty successful one.
Yeah, he's had a really good run at Lions, and obviously just going from strength to strength, getting into the FFA Cup last season and pushing Adelaide United all the way there. And I remember in the press conference after that game, Marco Kurz was full of praise for what Lions were doing, and that, of course, was without Marek Mudley. He was cup-tied because he'd been playing for Holland Park early last season.
And, of course, for the second successive year in a row, a Queensland side made the final of the National NPL, going down in South Australia, however, Lions, and couldn't claim that national crown.
Well, if Lions thought they had a busy schedule last season, I think if they're planning on replicating those feats, they're going to be in for even more games. So they've really tried to address their squad depth with their recruiting as well.
Ethan Ansell also cheering on the Power. I think it's all Power on the Facebook post. Most of the Lions supporters might actually be here at the ground.
Well, I can see a few of them on their phone, so they must be live streaming us.
It's Brenton Fox, the diminutive striker. That very distinctive haircut, the short back and sides. He'll be easy to spot out there this evening.
Just waiting and kick off in some of the other games as well, coming up on the Football Queensland YouTube channel. So got a lot of games to look forward to tonight, I think.
Yeah, Moreton Bay and Gold Coast due to kick off shortly, as long as the Gold Coast Knights and the Magpies Crusaders. 7 o'clock game from the Corporate Travel Management Stadium between Brisbane City and Redlands, and we'll keep you up to date with all those scores while we're on air. With a bit of a later start than expected here, we can fill people in a little bit longer than what we were expecting.
And this really is, NPL Queensland in progress.
It's quite exciting. We might be able to take a look at some of the goals from around the grounds as well and try and recap you on some of those as they happen. Still no score at Perry Park between the Strikers and the Thunder after 7, though. Strikers third place in the Kappa Silver Boot, held at Lions Stadium over the past couple of weeks. The tournament that Lions won, and Peninsula won their pre-season tournament as well. They were quite convincing winners in a 2-leg match against the Sunshine Coast Wanderers, coming away 4-0 winners on the first time, and then 8-0 at home. Mowing close, and Brenton Fox, the scorers 2 each in that 4-0 victory up at the Sunshine Coast. And last week they rounded off their preparations with a 5-0 win against the Brisbane Premier League side, Albany Creek. Carlos, who scored a hat-trick in that FFA Cup clash last year. It's the return ball from Brindle South. As we see, Lions always patient.
I'm a big fan of Sean Carlos. The games that I've seen him play for Lions, really love his work rate and his involvement in all the attacks. He seems to be, really intent on getting the ball forward and trying to get himself involved in the final phase of play as well.
A Lions junior made the departure to the Brisbane Strikers at the start of the 2017 season, I want to say. Maybe I got that wrong, but spent 18 months away from Lions Stadium. And that would have been the end of the 2016 season. Came back midway through 2017. And now back in the orange of his junior club. Reesby's goal kick sent towards the halfway line. Looks like it's going to evade Woolley there.
Interesting little thing there. They tried to push everyone over to the left and let Reesby put his kick into space over on the right-hand side of the field.
Simic down the line in search of Shepherd. Crucial foot in from Cunha. Madley wins the ball in front of the youngster. Oh, was there a push there by Cunha right in front of our commentary position? And the diminutive Scottish man has been brought down. Brindle South. No, in fact, Shepherd's going to take a quick free kick. The skipper, Simic. Tommy Jarrett, still in his teens. Makes a dashing run through the middle. Was an unlikely hero in that Silver Boot grand final win last week. The defender bobbing up for 2 goals in Lions' 3-1 victory over Moreton Bay. And again will be the foot at Duckworth in the dead ball opportunity for Lions.
Duckworth's going to bring something different to Lions here off these set pieces as well, because obviously last season they were relying on a couple of different players to put in the delivery, so to see how we go.
Course out of the Western Pride. In fact, it's going to be Hatfield.
Oh, there we go.
The recruit from the Thunder. He's going to boom this in from 35, skims it along the ground. He's taken the last touch off a Lions player and out for a goal kick. Not the best effort there from Hatfield. He was trying something creative and not going to try and bang it with full power towards goal. An early sighter for the man from the Thunder.
And you can check out some thoughts from a couple of the players involved in tonight's game on the Football Queensland IGTV. You can follow that at Football QLD.
IGTV. Tell me about IGTV, James. I'm approaching my mid-40s. I don't really understand this Instagram.
Well, it seems like it's just something that you can play a few longer videos on. Obviously, in your main feed, you're limited for time, so you can have a bit more of an extended conversation with a few of the players there. So,
all right, well, I might have to take a look at that.
Might have to get you featured on it.
No, I think my voice and my face has been around enough. So Lions really dominating the early stages of this match. Surely the pressure is going to tell here eventually.
Luke Borrian standing about 35 metres out from his own goal as well.
Has he got his lollipop out tonight, James? Can you see?
I can't see from there. My eyesight's not that good. But we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. He may come over in front of us before long.
I think he might be banned from doing that. I think he got into trouble at some stage last year and earned the ire of the referees. Sam Cronin. In fact, that's Fox, I should say, for Power. And here is the... We've called him eccentric. Probably a good description for him.
Eccentric, fun, all those words certainly are applicable here.
Very loyal club man though, and helps the juniors out quite a lot at Lions, developing the next generation of goalkeepers.
And the only person on the pitch tonight with long sleeves by the looks of it.
Lions had a training camp a couple of years ago down in the Gold Coast. It was 38 degrees and he was wearing 3 tracksuits or something like that, I was told. Look, despite what we say, he's an absolutely brilliant keeper, obviously up there in the upper echelon in Queensland. As they arrive on the scene, Peninsula Power, and they've probably had the first real shot in anger. Chris Jansevsky has been a feature at Noosa Lions in the Sunshine Coast Premier League in recent years. Fires the first shot in anger for Peninsula Power.
Still scoreless at Perry Park between Strike and South West Queensland with 11 minutes played there.
Here's Madley as Lions look to go from one end to the other. He's beaten the defender in Boyd in the first instance. Save from Reesby and then hacked away by the defender. Supporters looking for something in the back play.
It looks like we're getting underway down on the Gold Coast as well with Gold Coast Knights and Mackay and Whitsunday's Magpies Crusaders United FC. I think I got that right.
I think you did. Now Peninsula starting to get into this game a little bit more. Woolley blazes over the bar. Well, that's been very much against the run of play, Peninsula Power, in the last 60 seconds or so. Lions have had all the possession and the territory, but Power just keeping Lions honest there and threatening.
And that's the way Power are going to have to get a lot of their chances based on the early run of play, just trying to hit Lions on the break and just trying to get in behind those 2 centre-backs. So it'll be interesting, I suppose, trying to see how they how Lions adapt. Are they going to try and keep any players further back or continue to try and push on and get as many players forward as possible?
Been talking about the position. It's currently 67% Lions way, so they've had 2/3 of the ball so far. And 17 dangerous attacks to 4, but Power, almost against the run of play, gone close to scoring the first goal. Nathan Shepherd looking to have something to say, however. He's earned the free kick. Dan Cunha protesting his case, and Tony Sarai will have nothing of it.
And the ref's just about to get us underway between Moreton Bay United and Gold Coast United as well. So lots of games on the Football Queensland channel tonight, so keep track of all of those and we'll try and bring you all the up-to-date scores as well.
So it looks like it'll be the left foot of Duckworth. Once again, that familiar tactic of Lions, clumping a bunch of players at the edge of the 18-yard box. Tommy Jarrett and Martia Simic up from full-back as Duckworth plays this ball in towards the box. It's blasted away by Kim straight into the feet of the Power defenders, however. And Borean will mop up for his side. Switch of play, searching out Madley. Just shields the ball there in front of his opponent in Boyd. Shepherd manages to stay the right side of the defender in order to avoid the offside flag going up. Junior. Him there by Duckworth, and Shepherd into lend a hand as well now. Ball has crossed the line and Shepherd restarts very quickly. Madley off the right foot, tried to put it into the far post, but all he's achieved is to send it out for a throw-in on the far side.
Having a bit of joy coming down that left side, Lions.
Testing the youngster Lewis Greenwood, making his debut for Peninsula Power this evening. As I said earlier, the NPL Queensland, it's a marathon this year, so still some opportunity for clubs to use these opening 4 matches or so as a bit of a extended pre-season. The 28-game season, it's perhaps not going to hurt clubs too much. You wouldn't want your opponents to get away to too good a start, but still plenty of scope to be able to keep in the competition. Sam Cronin there for Power, the former Raw youth player, had an injury-plagued 2018 for Power. Started to get back into the squad towards the latter stages of the season. Cronin in the battle there with Carlos, it looked like. This is going to be a fraction too far for Hatfield to chase down. Tried to use his pace, but couldn't quite reel that one in. So folks, we'd love to know where you're tuning in from in our Facebook comments, and what you think the predictions will be. So let us know on the Football Queensland Facebook page. Ryan thinks Josh Woolley is better than Messi.
I can't argue with that, surely. Well, how many NPL Queensland goals has Messi scored?
This is true. Brindle South. Duckworth tries a little back heel. Cunha keeping him honest. Sliding in was Strickland. Sam Roper. And Danny Kim. He's giving away the free kick. Sam Roper. Certainly very vocal out on the pitch and giving a little bit of constructive feedback to the referee, Tony Sarai. A couple of predictions coming in there, James.
Yeah, we've got Ollie says 4-1 Power, Ethan 1-0 Power, Ben Colin Smith 2-1 Power. I'm sensing a real theme in the Facebook comments, very pro-Power.
This is Boyd. Has he got offside there? Woolley? It's not going to matter, it's going to end up in the hands of Borean nonetheless anyway. Long throw by Borean for Brindle South. He's got Shepherd to the left and on the outside Madley. Instead threaded through by Shepherd, who copped a fair shove in the back from Roper. Decision will go Peninsula Power's way. Nathan Shepherd going, what on earth are you thinking, Tony Sarai? The diminutive Scotsman. Fox held there by Simic. Cronin against Kim. Forced into a cul-de-sac. Plays it back for Cunha. The 16 shirt for Power tonight. It's Luke Plummer. Got away with the Mooney run. One of our live stream games last year. It was the last remaining Power player that needed to score a goal to get off the duck. And all but Jake Reesby managed to put away a goal for Power last year. 110 goals. In excess of that for Power through the season.
Yeah, well, Power really did cruise through the FQPL. I think they basically secured promotion by, what was it, June, July or something. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they go in NPL this season as well. And a bit of love for Rafe on the Facebook comments as well. Obviously, Leo saying you have the best voice in the game.
I've missed you, Leo. Where have you been? Where is the head of morale for Peninsula Power this year? Are you still on your scooter? I'll explain that story to you at halftime, James.
All right. Did you appoint him head of morale, or did he appoint himself?
Self-appointed, I think. Anyway, here's Woolley. Tried to thread it through for Fox. Hello, Leo. Good to have you back in 2019.
Got Thomas Strickland's family watching from Hertfordshire in the UK. So hello, Andrew.
So free kick to Peninsula Power. Starting to approach the midway point of this first half. No score at Lions Stadium. Glad you can join us for this opening round encounter from the NPL Queensland. In fact, there's no score around any of the games around the grounds at the moment. Ball is flicked on and just wide of the upright. Might have been Luke Plummer there.
And you can check out IFCCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au.
Yeah, some big names going along to that coaching conference. The NPL taking a break that weekend, so that coaching conference can take place, including Ray Dower from the Junior Matildas. She'll be at the conference.
Who you've worked with closely over the festive period on the W League as well.
I have. People will start talking about us too. Well, we were coming up short last night against Adelaide United. Melbourne Victory ended up being crowned the premiers of the W League. Still got a game against Canberra on Tuesday night. Duckworth. Kim into the feet of Roper. Cronin looks up. Spots the options in front of him. There's not too many. Fox was there, but he had the two Lions defenders in close proximity in Simic and Jared, and thought very wisely not to link up with the former Moreton Bay man. Now Tony Sarai is going to bring out a player here. Some blood on the knee perhaps of Danny Kim, and he's going to trudge over to the sideline and receive some attention. So Lions momentarily down to 10 as Danny Kim seeks some attention on the far touchline. Just a momentarily reshuffle in the Peninsula Power lineup. Shepherd all in the back of the Power player there in Greenwood.
And they want to get Danny Kim back out on the pitch as quickly as possible, as he's just coming back now, because he's obviously been playing as the deepest lying midfielder and having to get through a lot of work so far, trying to play that screener.
Greenwood. Tantalising ball into the box. It was dealt with by Simic. Strickland trying to dance his way through the orange shirts. Cunha.
And a big hello to Frank Jimenez watching from Barcelona, Spain, or maybe Ola?
Barcelona. Can't quite get that inflection right. Cunha. Now it's Roper. Roper had a quick side of the target. Greenwood to chase it down. Brindle south. He's able to evade him. Cut back. Fox tries to tuck it into the far post. And Power once again against the run of play. Look to scare the Lions defence, and they're back to 11. Denny Kim back out in the park.
And that was a really good bit of work from Greenwood there to try and keep the ball in play as well. Didn't give up on it and managed to at least generate a shot for Power there.
So we've had 24 minutes gone at Perry Park, still 0-0 between the Strikers and the Thunder. 12 gone at Walter Park, Moreton Bay and Gold Coast United 0-0. And down at the Croatian Sports Centre on the Gold Coast, the Knights in their inaugural match in the NPL Queensland. They're 0-0 with Magpies Crusaders. And in about 15 minutes' time, Brisbane City will kick off against Redlands United.
Got to get the pizza in at Brisbane City.
Yeah, you do. Although think on the Saturday night, it's not the wood-fired ones, but
Still good pizza.
maybe they've made an exception for the opening game there. Have the traditional whole of club photo. Speaking of which, Simon Smale is out there tonight. You'll get to hear his dulcet tones next week. The feature game next week comes your way from Heath Park as East have their first home match in the NPL. Once again, you'll see Peninsula Power. Danny Kim will be prevented from taking that quick free kick. So next Saturday, join Simon Smale. And he'll be joined by Rob Morrison, the captain of the Toowong Club in this year's Brisbane Premier League. East versus Power next Saturday night as the featured match on the NPL Queensland live stream. So eventually, proceedings are reinstated. Tony Sarah, just going to have to keep a little bit of a lid on it. It's been very keenly contested so far.
He's being very assertive with his calls as well, and not afraid to communicate with the players as well, which is what you like to see.
The Lions player evades that challenge. I fancy it was Shepherd. Hacked away by Boyd in the centre of defence. It looks like Shepherd has actually switched sides. Hatfield now more on the left. Madley in the middle. Shepherd once more up against Roper. Thompson. Shepherd. Duckworth does the 360, goes down. You'll probably hear the Mike's effect there, what the Peninsula bench and supporters thought about that decision.
Can't imagine they'd be too happy with their own player getting called for a foul ever.
And Cunha once again the naturalised Brazilian. Now the Australian citizen having a chat. So it's Thompson and Duckworth. Fancy Duckworth is just trying to shield the intent of Thompson at the moment. Looks to be 3 in the wall for Power. I think he's going to play it short and then left for Thompson. And held by Reesby. Reesby sends that ball long. Dealt with by Kim.
George Durant on Facebook. Can't see anything but a Power win tonight. Lions were good last season, but look, half the team they were. Up the Power. I feel like there might be a bit of blue and white in that prediction there.
Well, Facebook's colours are blue and white. Maybe that's matching the support from the Power tonight. What have you made of the first half hour or so, James?
I think Power have really grown into the game. They were obviously under the pump in the first 15 minutes, but...
Well, hang on here. Here's Hatfield! And he was foul of the offside flag anyway, as Reesby was drawn into a save, but it wasn't going to matter anyway.
Yeah, well, that was what we saw a lot of in the first 15 minutes. You had Power sitting right back, a lot of the action down there in their defensive half, but they've really come into it and been able to trouble Lions a couple of times so far. That was a fantastic save by Reesby. All the games right now are 0-0 as well, so make sure you check out Football Queensland to see on YouTube and Facebook to see all those games right now.
Reesby. Lofted ball. Familiar tactic from the Peninsula Power keeper.
I think they're going to have to try and keep pushing that ball forward quickly as well, because Lions are getting a lot of players forward, so they're going to have to use their speed up front.
Yeah, that probably looked a little bit more spectacular than what it was. Fox draws out Borean. Power looking to sneak away from that free kick. Marty Simic is still having words after that earlier challenge.
Uncompromising central defender.
Probably the best defender in Queensland. Tony Sarai, who's calling out this time? He's going to call out Marty Simic and have a quick word on the run. And Sivic has expressed his opinion.
Good, healthy dialogue there.
Casual conversation with Brenton Fox as well from Power. Fox has got a little bit of a wry smile on his face. Duckworth zigs and zags. Cunha just runs out of room.
And you can check out Play Football. Whether you're just starting out or have been doing it for years, there is a club for you to play football in 2018. With over 2,200 clubs across the country, there is bound to be one just right for you or your child. Girls and boys can start playing for a club from the year they turn 6, so what are you waiting for? Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au.
Half an hour gone at Lions Stadium. It's 0-0 between the reigning NPL premiers and the reigning FQPL premiers, the promoted Peninsula Power.
Bit of a competition for your statement about Simic being the best defender in Queensland there. We've got Matt Stein on Facebook saying Matt Byrne is the best defender in Brisbane.
Yeah, Matt, you've probably got a fair opinion. That's probably a fair call as well. Simic still up there. Matt Byrne has made the move from Moreton Bay to Eastern Suburbs in the off-season. Of course, Matt Stein, Matt Byrne, former teammates at Moreton Bay. Good to see you watching on, Matt. Here comes Peninsula on the charge. Kim trying to rescue the situation for his side. Cut out by Jared. Touch on from Shepherd. Carlos being kept quiet so far.
We're seeing a little bit of, the early start of the season in effect here. Passing not quite as sharp as what we might have seen last season, and a lot of the balls maybe not quite going exactly where they want them to. Players having to check their runs to try and bring it under control, but obviously we've got a lot of games coming up on Football Queensland, so looking forward to seeing how they progress.
It's a tradition a few years ago that clubs would play games pre-Christmas. Peninsula played a couple pre-Christmas, having wins against Caboolture and North Pine from the Brisbane Premier League. Lions pretty much straight into the silver boot. So, yeah, as you say, it just takes a few weeks for the rust to be eradicated. We see a beautiful sunset in the western sky behind the line. The Licence Club opposite our commentary position. Always loves summer football. Plenty of people still getting around in the shirt and shorts as Hatfield aims towards the goal. Boyd attempts to hold him up. Madley. Carlos on the turn. And it's been played off a Peninsula Power defender. And out for a corner.
A lot of love for Josh Woolley tonight on Facebook as well. We've got Jim Oliver saying he's the best defender in Brisbane. So I think you've started a bit of a debate there, Rafe.
Go on, tell us who is your best defender. Not just in Brisbane, the whole of Queensland.
Well, I'm actually going to side with you here, though. I've got Matthias Simic. He was phenomenal last season as well, and I don't see any reason why he's going to drop off this year. So I'm on your side with this one, Rafe.
Former Gold Coast United youth player, nodded away by Roper. Kim.
Seen quite a few of those corners going to the near post as well, with Mudley making a run as Power on the break here.
And it's via Cunha. It's in a contest with Hatfield. And there is the aforementioned Simic starting to come to the young defender in Greenwood. Cunha tries to dance around Hatfield. Hatfield gets the better of him. Couldn't link up with Madley that time round and just lets out a sigh of exasperation. Meanwhile, the ball's being turned over back to Lions again. Here's Shepherd just running perpendicular to the 18-yard line. Was there a free kick? Indeed there was against Dan Cunha. Some relief there for Power with around about 10 minutes to play in this first half. Still no score at Lions Stadium. We're round one of the NPL Queensland. Rafe Griffin and James Coughlin with you.
And, scoreless with strikers in southwest Queensland as well. As you can see, strikers lining up a free kick on the live stream as well. Scoreless with Gold Coast United and Mackay and Whitsunday's Magpies Crusaders United FC. And also scoreless between Moreton Bay and Gold Coast United. So defenders are winning the battles early on so far in this round 1 opening night.
Yeah, Madley didn't like that challenge from Josh Woolley. Goes unpunished. Hands to the head in exasperation from Brindle South, Sean Carlos. Oh, he's, Sean Carlos will be called out for some of the words he said there. He's playing a bit of lawyer there, asking the question to the referee.
I always loved having a lawyer in the team. They'd always know how to try and debate the merits of every call. Unfortunately, it did mean that every game would go for about 3.5 hours. But
Matt Stein is asking me an early season prediction on the top 4 Golden Boot and keeper of the season. Thanks, Matt. That's an easy one, isn't it? I fancy the usual suspects in the top 4, like Lions and Olympic. I think maybe Moreton Bay might be one of the teams in the 4. My 4th.
I'll save you on this one. And I actually have Gold Coast Knights breaking into the top 4 this season as well.
I was going to hedge my bets and say one of the Gold Coast teams, whether that's United or Knights. My Smokies Easts.
Yeah, well, Danny Wright was pretty optimistic about their chances when I spoke to him during pre-season for the Brisbane Football Review. So we'll have to see how it all goes. But I think that's one thing I'm really looking forward to this season is the fact that realistically a good 10 clubs probably think that they could and maybe should even be playing finals. So I think it's going to be a really competitive season as well.
And my Golden Boot prediction is that man that almost got a shot away in Marek Madley, if he can live up to the form of 2018 that earned himself a trial at the Central Coast Mariners. He will certainly be in the firing for Golden Boot.
Mariners in action earlier this afternoon as well.
And the other one was Keeper of the Year, wasn't it? Maybe Bazad from Moreton Bay on that one. Of course, that award comes down to whoever keeps the most clean sheets, so it also depends upon your defenders as well.
I'm actually going to go Jake Reesby. Seen him play a couple of times in the last few years, and always lively and very active keeper, and never afraid to share his opinion either.
We're in trouble because we didn't mention Power in the top 4. Oh, look, they could certainly be there and thereabouts. It's just always tough when you come up as a promoted team. Although Lions dispelled that theory. It wasn't promotion, but it was their first year in the NPL last year.
Yeah, and you know with the way that Power are coached, they're going to feel like they can go into every game and probably, get something out of it. So I don't think they're going to be easy beats by any stretch of the imagination and probably be in the mix come August themselves.
Brindle South. Hatfield. Couldn't find a way forward. Kim helping out Simic and Jarrod in defence. Good touch by Duckworth. Fox has come looking for the ball inside his own half. Woolley. And that play on the far side, Strickland for Power. Unable to chase that one down.
Don't forget to follow Football Queensland on Instagram and Facebook for the latest football news and events across the state. You can check out our Instagram story for a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's game and have your say on our poll. You can find us at FootballQLD.
Brindle South.
Hey, Chris, here! Chris, here! Josh!
Still awaiting a goal around the grounds. Who's going to be the first to score in 2019? No one wants to score at the moment, it appears. 4 games in progress. No goals. Usually plenty of goals in the NPL Queensland.
It's one for the defensive purists so far, I think.
It is. There'll be some out there that love the nil-all draw. Cronin. Strickland. Making a dash was Cunha.
And a good block there by Danny Kim as well.
Fox playing it out on the left. Dinked ball in, off the chest to Simic and hacked away by Jarrett. Cunha couldn't link up with one of his teammates.
We've got the Josh Woolley fan club going on our Facebook right now. Some of the responses to your question, Woolley first to score. I've also got Matt Stein saying Sam Smith at Knights for the first goal.
Yeah, that's a good shout back from the NPL Victoria. Port Melbourne it was, wasn't it, under Mr. Piddick?
Sounds about right, but yeah, it's good to see him back up here in Queensland, and I think he's in for a big season down at Carrara. So he's come back up to play down on the Gold Coast. I think that's a fantastic use of the English language there.
Of course, with Gold Coast City a couple of years ago. Missed the quarter-final of the FFA Cup in 2017 due to injury. Heavy defeat for what turned out to be the last game of Gold Coast City. 6-0 defeat to South Melbourne. Judy Ellis thinks that Chris Hatfield is going to score. Well, if he does, it'll be in a spectacular way. If his goals of last year are any indication. There's Power. Look to break this deadlock. Cronin held at close quarters. Touch through for Woolley. And Cunha. Into the box. Peninsula Power. Fox goes down. Definitely no contact there.
And thankfully we're not wasting any time with VAR. Am I allowed to say that on this broadcast?
Fair call, Matt. We won't talk about that anymore. Shepherd. Forced to halt on his run. She might have been Thompson or Carlos it was actually, I should say. So what are we? We're just over 2 minutes plus stoppages from half time. We might end up with a penalty shootout yet, James, to work out the winner of the Football Foundation Cup. That'll be the crowds out.
Yeah, I always look forward to seeing the penalty shootouts at Lions. Had a couple here last year, and just seeing the crowd having to frantically find out which end that it's going to be taken at and run down there. We saw one last year where people were climbing on top of the car.
Shot from Duckworth. Yeah,
climbing on top of the car park last year as well.
Inconvenienced our broadcast in the Moreton Bay game. People were running past our commentary position and the microphone cord came out. It would be best that they weren't hearing my voice anyway, but a lot of people dashing from the north down to the south end, the left-hand side of camera. Up for the ball is Jared.
He's been solid so far.
Mr. Reliable. Still so young in his football years as well. Maturity beyond his years.
Playing along someone like Simic obviously really helped his development as well.
Even back in 2015 in the game that Lions played in the FFA Cup in the round of 32. Flick on from Madley. And it couldn't be steered towards goal by Shepherd. Yeah, but just getting back to Tommy Jarrett when I think he was a 16-year-old playing in that FFA Cup game against Perth Glory in 2015. The A-League opposition certainly didn't faze him that evening. So we're about to go to half-time. Let's have one last check around the grounds. And nothing to tell you. No goals anywhere. Brisbane City and Redlands have just kicked off, however. So at the same stage of play at Perry Park, 0-0 between the Strikers and the Thunder. 32 gone at Walter Park. It's the Jets 0, Gold Coast United 0. 34 gone on the Gold Coast, the Knights 0, and Magpies Crusaders 0. And 3 minutes gone at the Corporate Travel Management. And in fact, we've just had a goal at Walter Park. Moreton Bay have struck first in the 2019 NPL Queensland. So 32 minutes gone. Moreton Bay United at 7:06 p.m. have scored the first goal of 2019.
We had to get off the mark eventually, didn't we?
A 1-0 lead against Gold Coast United. We're just having a look at that on the replay in a moment. We'll see if we can pick up the goal scorer. 4 minutes gone, Brisbane City 0, Redlands United 0. That brings a halt to proceedings in the first half here at Lions Stadium. Not much to really speak of. Power with a couple of opportunities, but it's been Lions who's dominated the possession and the territory, but just unable to make that count. And at Lions Stadium at half-time in this opening round encounter from the NPL Queensland, it's Lions 0 up against Peninsula Power 0. We're just taking a look at the goal at Walter Park. A bit of a scramble inside the box. And I'd love to know who the number 4 is. I think I know who it is, but I'm not brave enough to make a call because I might get the name wrong. But anyway, let's talk about the game here at Lions Stadium before we break for half-time. James, what have you made of the opening 45 minutes?
Power have really grown into this, and they're certainly looking a lot more comfortable than the first 15 or so minutes. And I just think they're going to be really happy going into the game, going into the break at 0-0. And Lions, you know, maybe they're feeling like they might be ahead a little bit, but really I think this game's still certainly up for grabs, and there's certainly a lot to look forward to going forward. Mardley, I don't think he's been as involved as maybe I would have expected him to be, especially since I highlighted him as a key player before the game. But yeah, I think conditioning in the second half is going to be huge for me. Obviously, you know, we're still very early in pre-season for a lot of these sides, so I think the fitness of both of these teams is going to be really interesting to see how they go forward.
All right, so the players are off to the sheds for the break. We're going to take a little bit of a break as well. Nothing to report on at half-time. It's Lions and Peninsula locked at 0-0.
Hi, my name is Asma and I'm from Somalia. Football Queensland has inspired me to continue playing football. Welcome to
Lies will melt away into yesterday, and we will live on try.
We can land on top, but I'll just pick it up and have a bit of fun.
Given this grand final, which is minute. What a drama that would be. It's an opportunity for White. Breaks into the penalty area. 1-0 Olympic. The supporters now. For White, breaks into the penalty area, 1-0 Olympic.
95 minutes in, and Sean Carlos
right into a dangerous area, and the ball is in the back of the net.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebration.
What's your reason? Join our team.
Audacious effort. Oh, it's going to go in. What a goal. Great thing.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the rivers, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one, I'm the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the rivers, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Hit it.
For White, breaks into the penalty area. 1-0 Olympic.
95 minutes in, and Sean
Ball
Carlos
right into a dangerous area, and the ball is in the back of the net.
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
For competition.
Community spirit.
It's healthy and safe. And fun.
play for celebration.
What's your reason? Join our team.
Donate to the cause at footballfoundation.com.au. Every donation counts. Football Queensland would like to thank their sponsors, Kappa, Flight Centre, All Sports Physiotherapy Group, BCA National Academy of Sport, Green Energy Queensland, Total Tools, Your Sport, Pilar and Oscar Modular. Without their support, today would not be possible. Also, anyone who's interested, the Raw are currently 1 goal up, scored by Enrique. Adelaide had a red card after the first 9 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back onto the field Lions FC and Peninsula Power for the commencement of the second half. Half-time score, Lions 0, Peninsula Power 0.
Stadium for the second half of this opening round encounter in the Football Foundation Cup between Peninsula Power and Lions FC. Peninsula have been out there for a couple of minutes now. Lions making their way back out on the stadium. The scoreboard attendant hasn't been troubled. It's 0-0 at the break. And speaking of scores, James, take us through what's been happening around the grounds while we've been away.
Well, this isn't the only scoreless game we've had so far. Strikers in Southwest Queensland are level at 0-0 at half-time at Perry Park. Moreton Bay United 2-0 up over Gold Coast United in first half stoppage time. Gold Coast Knights 1-1 against Mackay and Whitsundays. Magpies Crusaders United FC at half-time there. And out at Spencer Park, Brisbane City 1-0 up over Redlands United. So not as many goals as the previous meeting between those two so far, but still a whole another half to go there. So, actually, a lot more than a half.
Yeah, just over an hour into the season. 5 goals around the grounds. As James said, none here, none at Perry Park. But Moreton Bay look to be doing it comfortably going into the second half. Now, James, you talked about the player to watch for Peninsula early on. Here's Tom Strickland, just out near our commentary position at the moment.
Yeah, so Strickland he's been able to get in behind a little bit here and there. Obviously, with Lions fullbacks pushing forward, he's having to track back as well. So, you know, his involvement in the second half will be key for Power if they can try and get in behind down the flanks. And then, obviously, we've got Marek Mudley from Lions. He's had a couple of chances, had a flick on late in the first half, but, you know, obviously he's got to try and get a few more shots on target this time around.
All right, so Brenton Fox will get us underway momentarily.
And we've got Daniel watching from Turin, Italy. Can't miss his Duckworth football fix, so I hope he's enjoying Duckworth's debut for Lions.
Hello, Stuart in Adelaide, as we get underway in the second half. Peninsula Power away to Lions Stadium. It's 0-0. Stuart, I should tell you, James, was part of the early pioneering crew for Football Brisbane TV back in the day when we didn't even know what live streaming was back in the early 2010s. He's made the move to Adelaide with his family mid last year.
And obviously, you know, come such a long way, you've got every game live now on Football Queensland YouTube. So,
almost. Oh, Brenton Fox has done himself a bit of a mischief, just limping away, trying to run out a bit of a knock that he's copped, and didn't know a lot about that ball, and Boring was able to mop up. So Tony Sarai is going to have a chat to Luke Borient, and he's throwing something away that's... Is it the lollipop that's gone?
You read my mind there. I was just wondering if he's been told to put the lollipop away. Still got his trademark beanie, though.
Don't know what... Whatever it was, he wasn't happy that he threw it away into the back of the goal.
I remember when it was a half-time orange, not a lollipop.
Here's Cronin. I bumped into Tony Sarai at half-time. I said, they're keeping you honest out there, Tony. He said he was up for the challenge, was enjoying how the game was going. I mean, where would you rather be on a Saturday night than with 22 players chirping away with you and a couple of coaches as well?
Well, it's all part of the job description, surely. But I think it's had a good game so far. You know, has tried to communicate well with the players, and yeah, so far so good.
So what do you think might happen in the remaining 45 minutes here, James? Can you see a goal? Who do you think might be able to clinch the first 3 points of the season?
Well, I think we've got a goal right now, and I'm actually starting to think that Penn Power might be the ones to get them on the counter-attack. You know, if they keep progressing the way that they did in the first half, obviously they've got a lot of power going forward as well, and they just have enough speed there to cause quite a bit of trouble.
So half-time at Walter Park, and the teams have gone in at Moreton Bay 2, Gold Coast United 0, and half-time on the Gold Coast, the Knights. The Gold Coast Knights 1-1 with Magpies Crusaders at the break.
And Brisbane City 1-0 up over Redlands as well.
And here's Sam Cronin. Fox to try and keep that one in, and was unable and unsuccessful in doing so. Luke Plummer barking out the instructions for his defensive unit for Power. Just directing a bit of traffic, punched away by Reesby, who's remained down. There's an open net virtually there for Lions to shoot into. There's been a bit of a clash, and Reesby is clinching at the right shoulder.
And of course, just before halftime, I did say Jake Reesby's one of the better goalkeepers in NPL Queensland, so I think I might have just given my first commentary jinx of the season.
And what's happening here? The referee must have stopped play because he's going to resume with a drop ball. And Madley just casually plays it back for the Peninsula Power keeper. Came out of nowhere, that one, and Reesby now booms it long towards the attacker, Tom Strickland. We might have a ball in our commentary position here.
Just working out where I can duck to if the ball does come flying in.
Last year, one of our cameramen copped one right in the camera lens. I think that was at Logan last year.
I think it's safe to say Football Queensland have some cameramen committed to their craft.
Strickland continues his way. Lions player looking for the free kick. Bunch of Power and Lions juniors playing on the pitch behind us.
See if we've got any goals happening down there. And a shot's just gone wide on the spare field at the back.
There's a night here last year that we had over 35s playing. They wanted the cameras turned towards them for a live stream of their game.
And possibly the effects mics turned down as well. So you can check out IFCA, Australia's only national football-specific coaching conference, 25th and 26th of May down on the Gold Coast. Get your delegate pass today at ifcca.com.au.
Long throw there by Jensevsky. Cronin gets up in the air, nodded on by Boyd, who's helping out up front after the set play. Races back towards his position as the Power build up again. They've come out the better side in these early stages of this second half. And they're still hassling here. Fox has a bit of an air swing. And then it's taken a deflection on the way through. The shot from Strickland. And getting to his right at the near post. Luke Borean.
Despite Lions having, Lions' share of possession, pardon the pun, seems like Borean's actually had to make a few more big saves compared to Reesby.
Yeah, neither keeper really had much to do in that first half, but
when called into action.
Yeah, Borean, a couple of saves inside this first 6 minutes after the restart of play. Still warm conditions in Brisbane, probably still in the high 20s.
And it looks like we've just had a goal with Brisbane Strikers pulling level with Southwest Queensland there in the 53rd minute.
We missed that earlier Thunder goal, obviously, and 7 minutes into the second half, 1-1 at Perry Park. Perhaps a bit of a shock.
The Strikers faithful will be very happy with that one. Pulling back on level terms there.
Kim. Left by Shepherd for Thompson. Thompson towards the far post. And the opening goal has been scored. Lions FC. And I think it's Sean Carlos.
That's who seems to be getting all the congratulations. So.
Yep, Sean Carlos, the man, scored a hat-trick in the FFA Cup victory against Peninsula Power last year. And it's the first to strike for Lions in this second half. So Carlos just ghosting in there at the far post after the cross was drifted in by Thompson. And the home side strike the first blow.
And they just left Thompson in a little bit too much space there, and he was able to put in what was a really well-placed cross as well, as one of the Lions players goes down injured.
Just grabbing a sip of water. Just obstructed by some of the Peninsula players as to the identity of that Lions player.
Looks like Simic, yeah, number 4. Smardley checks in on him as well.
Everyone grabbing the opportunity to take in some fluid. As I said, it's still warm conditions, early January. Perhaps lucky that we don't still have North Queensland United in the league, because someone had gone to Townsville this weekend. They first of all, they probably wouldn't have got in, and then may not have got out had they even got in. Floods up there in Townsville, so if you are watching on from Townsville, we wish you all the best. So underway after that short break for Simic's injury attendance. And he's not out there at the moment. Yeah, he's just on the sideline, the far touchline. Warren Moon, his coach, is having a chat. So Lions down to 10 for the time being. Reesby, Plummer, and Boyd.
Power are going to have to start pushing a few more players forward now as they're trying to chase an equaliser here, and obviously equaliser first and then possibly a go-ahead goal.
Jensevsky. Another bite of the cherry for Strickland. Simic is allowed to come back on. Cunha. Roper. Cunha through for Fox. Oh, there's been a bit of a stumble by the keeper, and Peninsula unable to capitalise on a rare mistake from Borean.
And you can always comment on our Facebook live stream as well. A few Happy Lions supporters finally chiming in. We've got Steph and Marie. Seemingly happy that the boys in orange and blue are up 1-0.
Jensevsky. Cunha. Roper and Cunha, now teammates, have had an interesting history in previous years. Away by Thompson. Duckworth. Into the referee, who was very close to the action that time round. It's a fashioned ball away by Jensevsky. Very tall in the left back position. Fox skimmed for Roper. Cunha. Here come the Power on the attack, and they'll have the opportunity to equalise potentially here from a corner on the far side.
And of course you can check out Football Queensland on YouTube for live streams of all the NPL Queensland games, including the other 4 games we've got in progress as well. No changes to the scores there from where we're at. Got 1-1 at Perry Park, and we've got 2-0 with Moreton Bay United, 1-0 for Brisbane City, and actually I think we've just got a second goal at Spencer Park as well. How's that for timing?
Indeed, another goal there after they scored the first on 16 minutes. Attempted not on from there. There's hands going up from the Power players, looking for a foul inside the box. And once again, Tony Sarai, the referee, being kept very busy. So the men in the blue at Corporate Travel Management, now 2 to the good over Redlands, 33 minutes in. As we said earlier, 5-5 between those two sides when they last met. Perhaps Redlands could have a fight back on the cards and add more goals to our tally on the opening night of the NPL Queensland.
Well, with the amount of attacking talent we've got on the, all 5 pitches tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if we've got a few more goals to report on, Rafe.
And of course, a couple of games still to come. Tomorrow you can join the live stream from Kawana between Sunshine Coast Fire and Eastern Suburbs in their debut NPL game, and Madley will be caught offside there. 4 o'clock tomorrow on the Football Queensland YouTube channel for that one. And then, if you're looking for a bit of midweek action, 7:30 Tuesday, the Pride up against the Raw Youth from Briggs Road in lovely downtown Ipswich. Well, not so much downtown where the Pride are, though. Briggs Road.
And I think congratulations have to go to the Raw Youth side for winning the Y-League Grand Final yesterday of Western Sydney Wanderers, which is, of course, why that game was postponed to Tuesday night.
Strickland. Heavy challenge in from Thompson. What will be the decision here? It's going to be a corner for Peninsula. Approaching the hour mark of this encounter.
Lions bring just about everyone back to defend this corner as well.
All bar Hatfield inside the defensive penalty box.
Now Hatfield's making his way in as well.
Just shadowing Woolley. In comes the corner, nodded away, and it'll be a goal kick for the Lions. Try and catch up on the stats again and get what's going on there. Possession much more even now than what it was in the early stages, where it's 2/3 Lions way. It's now 54-46 the home side. And Lions with 9 shots on goal, 4 of those on target. Peninsula with 10 shots towards goal, 3 of those on target.
And I think that possession number might come a little bit closer to level as well as Power try and push forward for the equaliser.
Simic away. Nodded down for the advantage of Carlos, the goal scorer. Once again, the hands go up high, looking for the free kick. And once again, Tony Sarai keeps the hands by his side. Strickland turns inside Thompson. Away by the ever-reliable Simic. And it looks like that Dylan Wenzel-Halls, we speak about, I should say Wenzel Hall, has scored for the Raw. I'm sorry, James.
That's all right.
It's come up on our Facebook comment.
It's a pleasant note to get.
James was trying to avoid the Raw game, and my mate Shane Jeans has spoiled it. But of course, that was a great story when Dylan was signed by the Raw in the off-season, and he's made his first start for the side this evening, and it appears as though he scored his first goal for the club, and plenty have been crying out for that for a while. Why aren't you starting, Dylan? And he's rewarded his starting effort tonight, it appears.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a nice update to get for sure.
Time at Olympic and Western Pride. Leading goal scorer in the NPL Queensland last year, despite virtually playing only half the season at the Western Pride. Strickland.
Just looking at the subs benches, Rafe, and curious to see who comes on for Lions. They try and shore up this game and possibly even push for a second. Adam Sawyer is one of those names that really jumps out as possible late impact player.
No one really warming up at this stage, as Jansevsky A few stretches by the substitutes, but nothing much more serious than that. I saw Sekou Jamonde warming up for Peninsula before, but now he's firmly planted back on the bench once more. Here's Danny Kim. Shepherd. Couldn't link with Hatfield. Oh, Boyd. Oh, no, he's injured his left knee. Oh, no. That's bad. He's just landed awkwardly. I thought he was initially looking for a free kick and trying to play it up, but this looks like terrible news here for the skipper tonight for Peninsula Power. He's writhing in pain with that left knee. It just looked like it buckled under him. He's in quite some severe distress, and the stretcher is immediately brought on. Look, that might just give us the opportunity to go around the grounds for the moment, James, and while this injury is being attended to.
Yep, so I've got 1-1 Brisbane Strikers in Southwest Queensland. Then we've also got, there we go, 1-1 Gold Coast Knights and Mackay with Sundays, 2-0 Moreton Bay United over Gold Coast United, and Brisbane City 2-0 over Redlands United. So finally getting some goals coming in, Rafe.
That match 5 minutes away from the break. I think we're going to have a bit of a break here for a couple of minutes or so. Handy crowd has turned out tonight too at Lions Stadium, not only around the grandstands and the terraces, but a very healthy crowd on the balcony this evening.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement around Lions, and I suppose with the way they've recruited this off-season, they're obviously going to try and go back-to-back in terms of doing the double, but I think they've also probably got ambitions for the FFA Cup as we go forward in the national stage.
So the players are using this opportunity to go off to the relevant benches and grab a drink or two and perhaps some instructions from the relevant coaching staff.
I think there might be a few players taking on quite a bit of water. Obviously, it's still warm. And just while we're waiting, you can check out Play Football. Whether you're just starting out or have been doing it for years, there is a club for you to play football in 2019. With over 2,200 clubs across the country, there's bound to be one just right for you or your child. Girls and boys can start playing for a club from the year they turn 6, so what are you waiting for? Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au. So, yeah, obviously, bit of an unfortunate injury here, and now just waiting for the stretcher to come on. And I'm curious to see how Power, I suppose, change their formation going forward as well. They've got a couple of players on the bench that might be an impact. Obviously, I spoke about Richie Hurlin, a fullback, but certainly one that, with a lot of set pieces going forward, could be a real impact for Power if he does make his way onto the pitch.
So Matt Boyd is being escorted off the field by way of the stretcher. Power already with one player in Dean Briggs who suffered some ligament damage and out for an extended period, and we wish Matt Boyd all the best. Let's just hope it's something a little bit innocent, and that will allow, I think it'll be Trent McAvoy that will come on in jersey 20.
Well, look, in terms of players you can bring on, Trent McAvoy is certainly a very top quality player, and I think he's going to bring a real steadying influence to Power as well. He's an experienced campaigner and certainly someone who, you know, is very popular within the Penn Power Club as well. So we'll have to see what happens with McAvoy here now as he takes the captain's armband as well.
Yes, the usual skipper starting off the bench this evening, and the skipper for tonight, Matt Boyd, handing over the captain's armband as he was taken off the field. So we've had a momentarily stoppage here midway through the second half now. Now, discussion as to how we'll restart. It'll be a drop ball, but Lions players are asking Marek Madley to get out of the way, and we put away and we'll end up in a Lions throw. No, it won't, because Thompson will keep the ball in after the ball was put away by Plummer. So back underway with proceedings. Trent McAvoy in jersey 20 comes on for Matt Boyd. Thompson. Manly the target. Bit of creativity from Shepherd to try and retain possession for his side. And the casual Borean, the edge of the area. Plays it on for his skipper. Brindle South. Chested by Cunha. Touched back by Roper. Cunha once more. Jensevski's got a bit of space on this left-hand side, and McAvoy spotted it. Has he overhit it? No, he hasn't. It'll build up again through Plummer. Perhaps Strickland was in an offside position. Cronin isn't. Tries to get goal side of Jared and puts Peninsula Power back on level terms. Midway through the second half, Sam Cronin, who had an injury-plagued 2018, has put the Power back on level pegging, very much against the run of play.
But that was how we were saying Penn Power were going to get back into this game with a long ball over the top. And they're great header to control it and manages to put the ball away with a fantastic right foot finish across the face of Borean. So, tell you what, I know this is a Lions home game, but you can't tell it by the sounds from the crowd on the other side of the pitch, can you?
Yeah, the Peninsula Power supporters have fired up on that far side. And we've definitely got a game of this in the final quarter of this round one encounter from the NPL Queensland. Sean Carlos opened the scoring for Lions. But now they're playing full of confidence. Peninsula Power with Sam Cronin scoring the equaliser. In the lead-up, I said Strickland was involved in the play or trying to get involved in the play. He just hung off. It was a wise move in the end to avoid the ire of the linesman's flag on the far side, and that just allowed Sam Cronin to get goal side of Tom Jarrett, and then no mistake putting it away past Borean. So 1-1 at Lions Stadium.
And that's the composure you really want from your striker going forward there. One-on-one with the keeper, with the defender hanging off his shoulder and just able to put the ball away there. So we obviously had... we've been talking about the Penn Power fans getting involved on the live stream. Obviously, we've got quite a few very happy fans now. You've got Ollie, Ethan and Bren all celebrating. Bren's still pushing the Reesby Scorpion kick, so I think he's going to die on that hill there. And, yeah, Sam Cronin from Matt Steen, plenty of praise there. What a player. First time I've seen him score from inside 30 yards. So if he's added that aspect to his game in the off-season, that's probably something that Powell will be pretty happy with.
A sliding challenge between the two number 15s. Didn't bother Danny Kim, however.
I don't think Danny Kim's ever shied away from a challenge.
I don't think he has either. Tough as teak. Thompson threaded through for Shepherd. And can't keep it within the confines of the field boundary. Still no one really warming up on that far side for either side. In fact, just as I say that, there's a Lions player approaching the halfway line. Looks like Nathan Reardon will be on momentarily for the home side. Versatile player.
A pretty good depth option to be calling on from the bench as well.
Played all over the park last year.
Especially at the end of the season when Lions were a little bit short-handed through injuries and other commitments.
Sandwich back for Borean. Fades the chase of Fox.
I'd love to know if Luke Borean's heart rate ever goes above something like 60. He always seems so assured back there, even though he might be making Warren Moon and company sweat on the sideline.
Okay, so here's Lions' first change of the evening. Who will be the player that will be replaced? Martius Simic looks like he's going to come off. And Nathan Reardon in jersey 6 will be on, so perhaps Simic has just succumbed to that earlier knock he received. Been through a few injury struggles himself. So on comes Nathan Reardon. He too adopts the captain's armband and will slot straight into Simic's position at centre back. Duckworth. All the way back to his keeper, Idborian. Probably the only time the heart rate goes up is when he's asked to throw the lollipop away. Probably gets very annoyed by that.
And we've just gone half-time at Spencer Park as well. Brisbane City still up 2-0. And you can check out all those live streams on Football Queensland YouTube.
And the Peninsula players, supporters baying for blood. And we talk about players that take no prisoner. Nathan Reardon is one of those. Here's a player that's booked, yes, and within minutes of coming on,
well,
he picks up the first yellow card of the game.
He was told to come on and make an impact, surely. So one way or another, he's getting involved. And I always like seeing the players when they commit a foul, know they're getting booked, and just try and slink away very quickly. And also you can visit footballqueensland.com.au for all the latest NPL, NPLW, FQPL and community news from across the state.
Now Borian off his line. I think there were some issues with the Moreton Bay versus Gold Coast United stream. Looks like we're back underway, back in action at Walter Park with that one.
No change to the score, still 2-0 to Moreton Bay.
Kemzewski. Oh, it's going to fall for Fox, who tries to dance around Reardon. And that's Woolley. Creatively tried a clever little clip. Jensevski. Cunha. Back out for the former Noosa Lion. Oh, and it's just sliced over the bar. Borian reached up to grab it, but didn't have to make a play on it. In the end, he's having a bit of a chat to his defenders as he goes and retrieves the ball. So we're a quarter of an hour to play now. Both coaches still with a couple of cards up their sleeve. Reardon. Brought down by Fox. And Brendan Fox will be booked here for delaying the restart of play. A couple of comments coming in from the crowd on the far side. Wishing that they perhaps had a whistle too. Cronin, the goal scorer and leveller for Peninsula Power. More dangerous ball across the face of the defence, and Hatfield read it for Lions, but McAvoy there in the nick of time. Danny Kim.
Deepest lying outfield player for Lions. So having to come a little bit deeper to get the ball this half as well.
Tweaks at half time from the Peninsula Power coaching staff in Aaron Philp and Ben Ryan. Shepherd. Duckworth. Madley. He goes down looking for contact. Straight back to his feet, no complaints however. And the free kick will go Lions' way. So another substitute being made for Lions. Nathan Shepherd, the man coming off. Up that player coming on in a moment. Number 7, it looks
Adam
like.
Sawyer,
Adam Sawyer,
according to the team sheet.
And Heavily strapped left knee there from Adam Sawyer.
So they've got to get through another 20 or so minutes.
So the free kick taken by Jarrett. Bobbles around in the box before it's cleared away eventually by the Power defence. Reading the ball first in front of Fox. And Reardon will settle the play down. In fact, that was the call from one of his teammates. Settle. Madley runs out of room on the far side. A couple of substitutes warming up for Peninsula Power, including, I can see, Sekou Jamonde, the former Lions player. And in fact, he's being stripped and looks like he'll be the second substitute for Power in the very near future. As I said, the former Lions player. Here back in 2017 before going off to Moreton Bay last year, now at Peninsula. Nickname free. McAvoy and Madley, and McAvoy forced to play the ball across the byline and a Lions corner.
Watch those two go at it for a full 90 minutes, hopefully, when we get the rematch. Madley and... Oh, there we go. Short corner, maybe.
They were looking for it, Lions, but the Peninsula defence were wary to it. Roper was covering Madley.
I think we got one for the suggestion box from Matt Stein. We need NPL fantasy next season.
So the signal for the corner is given. It's driven in at mid-length, and there's been a foul committed by a Lions player on Sam Roper. And I think we're about to see that second change from Peninsula Power. As I said, Sekou Jamonde will be the man coming on in jersey 19, and he'll be replacing the man who followed him from Moreton Bay this year as well, Brenton Fox, the man to be replaced.
Don't forget to follow Football Queensland on Instagram and Facebook for the latest football news and events across the state. Check out our Instagram story for a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's game, and have your say on our poll. You can find us at FootballQLD.
So brought down by Jansevsky. Nice ball down the line. Cronin will be able to get to it first. Plays it square for Strickland. It's going to open up here for Strickland. Oh, and almost gets his side ahead for the first time in this match. That was quick play by Reesby. Cronin was alert to it down the left-hand side. Played a wonderful ball in towards Strickland. The goal opened up, and he just couldn't quite get it on target.
Another lightning quick counter-attack there as Madley once again called offside.
Bit of byplay between the supporters about that offside call. So what have we got? We've got around about 8 minutes plus stoppages remaining. If you have just joined us, we're playing for the Football Foundation Cup tonight. It's going to be an annual fixture between the NPL Premiers and the FQPL Premiers in seasons to come. Inaugural edition tonight, so if the scores are drawn at the end of full time, it'll be 1 point each in the NPL, but to find a winner in the Football Foundation Cup will be straight to penalties.
It's a great way to start the season, obviously, pitting the two champions against each other, and I wonder if now as a player you're starting to think, if you're one of the pre-prescribed penalty takers, that's a lot of alliteration right there, you're starting to think, all right, what am I going to do? Obviously, these players have been running around maybe a little bit fatigued, considering it is still quite a warm night, even with a bit of a cool breeze coming through. And, yeah, these players obviously trying to work their way into full season form.
So midway through the second half, Gold Coast United have pulled the goal back at Walter Park. Moreton Bay still have the lead, 2-1 over Gold Coast United. That's the only change in score around the grounds. There's a Lions player down in the defensive box, and Sekou Jamonde becomes the third player into Tony Sarai's little black book this evening. So Nathan Reardon came on, was booked very quickly. Sekou Jamonde, a recent arrival onto the field as well.
Just clipped him a little bit late there as the ball was gone. So moving on, Borjan with the goal kick. Oh, with the free kick.
And it looks like Peninsula about to empty the bench. It might be the man that you've been talking about, James. Richie Herland to come on very shortly.
Can he put in a key delivery? And Matt Kenning's on Facebook. Confident Power's going to find a winner. 2-1, saying, "You've got this, lads." Debbie Keogh going the other way. Let's go, Lions.
Was there a push inside the box? Indeed there was. Josh Woolley pushed inside the box, and Power will indeed have the chance now to go ahead for the first time in this match from 12 yards. Just about to grab that on a replay here.
We were just talking about the nerves of possible penalty takers. Imagine now if you're the Penn Power taker.
So Jamonde with the ball in, and then Tony Sarai has deemed that there's contact there with Josh Woolley. The Lions player remains down. It's Brindle South, I think. He's adjudged to have fouled. Some attention will now be brought on for the Lions player. So the Peninsula penalty taker is just going to have to sweat this out for another couple of minutes. I think it'll be Sam Cronin who's shaping up to take the penalty. But the away side and the newly promoted side could be well on their way to heading into the lead for the first time.
About half the Penn Power teams just run over to the bench to grab some water and some instructions as well from Aaron Phillips. So obviously trying to prepare for both instances of a goal or a no goal here.
So Brindle South receiving attention. Borjan is gesticulating to the referee and now wanders away and has a bit of a conversation with himself, but still sort of aimed at Tony Sarai at the same time.
We spoke during the pre-game about Borjan as a penalty taker, but he's actually been pretty good saving them as well.
He's indeed one of the better shot stoppers in the league. Under 5 minutes to play when this penalty will be taken. Josh Brindle South is trudging towards the sideline. Assistant's asking him to cross at the goal line so we can get play back underway. And it will be Sam Cronin. That will be the penalty taker for Lions, for Peninsula I should say. Here's Cronin's effort. He slots it away, and Peninsula, they all rush to Josh Woolley. Well, this was a heavily anticipated match. A lot on the line. Power with plenty to prove after the heavy defeat here last year in the FFA Cup. And the away side take the lead.
It was straight down the middle as well. Held his nerve, waited for Borjan to make his move, and then low and hard. Obviously, we had a couple of people in the comments calling for a Panenka. Not quite the deft touch there, but still a very confident shot anyway.
So 3 minutes plus stoppages. We'll have quite a deal of stoppages, you'd think.
Better get the stopwatch ready.
And I think Josh Brindle South is going to be replaced. He's certainly going off towards the bench. There was a substitution made. So Keegan Jelicic in jersey 14 is the man to replace Josh Brindle South. It looks like Lions are going to go all-out attack. 3 at the back now, and Jelicic, who was rather impressive during the Silver Boot, scoring a couple of goals in the pool stages. He's gone up towards the more attacking line.
And obviously there's 3 at the back formation as Lions try to chase the game. We've seen that, seen them deploy that a couple of times last year, including in the FFA Cup against Adelaide United. Obviously they didn't have Mudley in there for that one, but yeah. So it's a formation that I think Lions will have been practicing a little bit during the off-season, having to chase a few games and see how it works out in this opening Football Foundation Cup.
So Reesby, no rush whatsoever, cleans the boots. Well, that's a relatively firm and dry track at Lions Stadium. No visible dew. .90 seconds plus stoppages for Lions to try and rescue a point out of this encounter. Away by Borean. Madley and Hatfield just haven't really fired for their side this evening. Free kick, we're going Peninsula's way. Referee tried to allow the advantage. And is there a yellow card here for Dan Cunha? There is, for kicking the ball away.
Tell you what, throwing the ball back, they put it right on the ref's right foot. Pinpoint throw.
Sam Cronin once again milking as much time as he can. And the third and final change for Peninsula be Ramon Close coming on in jersey 6. The man that he will be replacing is number 8, Josh Woolley.
And just one last quick score update from around the grounds. Moreton Bay 3-0 up over Gold Coast United. Everything else still as it was in our last one. 1-1 between Strikers and South West Queensland. You've got Gold Coast Knights 1-1 with Mackay and Whitsundays, and Brisbane City 2-0 up at Spencer Park over Redlands.
Into stoppage time at Perry Park, so looking like the Strikers and Thunder destined to play out of draw there. So Josh Woolley finally makes his way off the Lions Stadium field of play.
Just savouring all the applause.
Number 6, Ramon Close, is on. So the free kick taken by Plummer. Shielded by Close. We're now into stoppage time. We're not quite sure how much we'll have. I'd say we'll have at least 5 minutes with a couple of serious injuries that we had. And Jamonde just better be careful. He's already sitting on a yellow card. Tony Sarai will have a quick chat on the run just to say, free, come on. You don't want to be missing next week. And that big clash against the fellow promoted side in Eastern Suburbs, which will feature as the NPL live stream match of the round next Saturday night from Heath Park. Simon Smale and Rob Morrison to join you with that one. 7 o'clock next Saturday. East versus Power.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that game can live up to the second half we've seen here, then we're in for a really good game next Saturday night.
2 teammates going at Reardon and Jamonde. Cronin. Away by Carlos. Oh, Madley's gone in. And what's he going to do here, the referee? There's another yellow card coming for a Peninsula player. McAvoy, it looks like. So it's all hands on deck. Borean lumbering up towards the halfway line as well.
We saw Jamie Young in the box for Brisbane Roar last Friday night against the Wanderers. I'm wondering if we're going to get Borean all the way up there as well.
Oh, he fancies himself. It's just Kim and Borean that won't be in the penalty area. And the free kick taker. Fancy it's Duckworth taking the free kick.
Going to need a really good delivery here.
Lions supporters fire up. In comes the free kick towards the penalty spot. There's a couple of Lions players that have gone down. Play continues, however. Lofted high. Waiting there was Thompson. Still alive for Lions, Duckworth. Slid on the ground by Carlos. Peninsula get away from danger. Although Kim will just steady the ship here for the home side. McAvoy. Possession good for the Power. Close. Jamonde. Jamonde down that right-hand side. Steaming through is Cronin. And Borean arrives just in time to defuse the Peninsula Power attack. They will go absolutely crazy here, the Peninsula Power supporters, if they can hold on to this very slender lead.
I think they already are going crazy by the looks of some of them over there.
They're riding every challenge and every tackle. We had a pretty dull first half. It's certainly much livened up in the second.
Into the 94th minute now.
Away. Put through by Reardon. Duckworth in a challenge with Plummer. Lofted high by Cunha. Jared anticipates well. There's a bit of a flying hand from Jamonde. Referee's content to allow play to continue. Thompson delivers across in towards the penalty spot. Cronin, surely he just has to go towards the corner. Cronin will just jink on his run.
Holding the ball's got to be more important than actually trying to go for a third goal here.
Close is going to go and support him. Lions need to win back possession and get it down the other end of the park. And that's exactly what they're looking to do. There's not enough orange shirts up front, however. Might just have to hesitate on their run here, Lions, to try and get some numbers forward. They are doing that now. Thompson. It's too far for Hatfield. Everyone looking at the referee. He's indicating there's 1 minute remaining. 1 minute for Peninsula Power to hold on for their inaugural win in their debut game in the NPL. Reardon's not racing for this one at all. No sense of urgency.
Borean just sent one of the spare balls down the touchline as well, and it's just sitting up there as well. Sitting up there next to Reardon now.
It's going to be a long throw into the box from the Lions stand-in skipper. Near post, as good as a cross in. Hacked away. Borean will be the man on the halfway line.
Time for a hero run.
Thompson, numbers calling for it forward. It comes in, and did Reesby get a hand on it? He was forced in to get a hand on it. So late drama here at Lions Stadium. This is perhaps the final play of the game. The final opportunity for Lions to salvage a point.
We're at just about 6 minutes of stoppage time as well now. This has got to be it.
Everyone's up for Lions, even Borean's inside the box. Everyone bar the corner taker inside the 18-yard area. Here comes the corner. Flicked on. Another corner for Lions. Peninsula Power players going, surely time's up. Sam Cronin pleading with the referee. Duckworth gives the signal. Will it be similar to the first effort? Here they come, a crowd of players. Reesby gets a hand on it. There's been a foul inside the box, and Peninsula will get some relief.
Oh boy, I was nervous about that. I can't imagine how the power players were feeling. There were a lot of power players there, just making sure they were guarding the goal line and making sure that nothing got through if Lions were able to get a clear shot on that.
And you'd think that Reesby's only option here will be to send it as long as he can. The Peninsula Power supporters calling for the full-time whistle. They duly get it. There's jubilant scenes here at Lions Stadium. Peninsula have redemption for the heavy FFA Cup loss last year. They mark their entry into the NPL with a successful visit to the reigning NPL premiers. No goals in the first half. Lions scored first through Sean Carlos. Then Sam Cronin equalised for Power. He duly converted a penalty around about 5 minutes from time. And Peninsula Power, the new boys on the block, collect their first 3 points in the NPL Queensland. They've defeated Lions by 2-1.
And what a debut it was for Penn Power as well. It was, obviously they were under the pump early, but really showed, maybe a bit of a statement win there. showing that they're certainly going to be a side to take very, very seriously this year. And obviously, going forward in the second half, you couldn't be more impressed with the way they were so composed.
Spectacular opening, spectacular finish. As I said, first half rather dull, but didn't the second half come to life very quickly? Came right down to the final whistle. But it's Peninsula Power who are successful in our first match of the round, and what a match of the round it was on the Football Queensland Facebook and YouTube channel.
Plenty of very happy Penn Power fans in the comment section as well, including Catherine McAvoy, Mark Selfair, Ollie Berman, Harry Clapp. Obviously, just a lot of people, you know, really enjoying seeing Penn Power's introduction to NPL Queensland for 2019, and I think there's going to be quite a few celebrations with the crowd that are sticking around behind the Penn Power bench as well, Rafe.
Well, James, thanks for joining us for your first match. Hope you enjoyed it.
I certainly did. I really hope they're all like this.
I'm about to go off and present a trophy, so we're going to say goodbye from Lions Stadium. On behalf of all the team, thanks very much for tuning in tonight. Peninsula Power win on debut in the NPL, and they're also the inaugural Football Foundation Cup winners. At Lions Stadium, it's Peninsula Power 2, Lions FC 1. From Rafe Griffin, on behalf of all the team, thanks for tuning in tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week with Simon Smale, who's going to do East versus Power. And remember, the live streams continue tomorrow, and the games that are still continuing tonight as well as Tuesday night. From Lions Stadium, good night, everyone.